load my screen and everything around it. So I'll just let you know, I'm going to frick my butt in the waters. So yeah. So yeah, let me check. Boom. Play Minecraft, bro. Yay. Alright, I did play God of War, alright? This will disappear. RainAttackSlug after YT. And yeah, whatever. It will disappear because there's no these shit. I used one of them, I don't know. But I do need to change my shit, I don't know. Alright, let's mine it up. Oh my god. Well, about action packs and looks interesting right now, right? So I don't know what to do in this video. It's like 45, right? So I'm gonna 5 hours to shit. And yeah.
There's a new payphone in town.
I really want to download some files. I don't know. But it's really hard, or I can't do anything. But I might take a break from streaming, from doing that, because I literally gotta down some files. So,
was in fairly decent condition, and they had insisted that it had been installed recently.
Alright.
More likely than not, it had been there for a few decades, and neither the poster nor anyone else had noticed it until recently.
Yeah, so because I don't jump, that's so awesome.
Those things, any
It's like,
or kids who genuinely just don't know what they are or what they're for.
Alright.
But the poster remained quite adamant. This
I haven't know what to jump on, so I don't know.
The evidence being some low-resolution screenshots from Google Street View from the approximate location where he was talking about, none of which showed the phone.
Nah, I think Apple's are now.
Granted that the phone was new,
but it's not that simple, guys.
Yeah. The guy wasn't really making a very coherent argument about it, or why it was. He just kept rambling on and on about how the phone only worked.
It'll C-spawn for 5 minutes. That's awesome.
FDR dime minted prior 1965, when they were still made from 90% silver. He said, "Give it silver and you'll see." When he refused to elaborate on exactly how he figured out the phone only worked with old American coins, everyone pretty much just assumed that he was full of it, and the thread fizzled out. But I just so happen to have a coin jar filled with interesting coins that I found in my change over the years, and it only took a moment of sorting through them before I found that
I know how to mine faster now because of my efficient pickaxe. It's called reach mining, so it's not that simple. I don't know. But
I decided to check out the phone just after sunset, in the hopes that there wouldn't be too much traffic that might keep people doing the phone call.
Alright, how many should I have? Oh yeah, 25 blocks left.
And as I viewed it with my own eyes, I was instantly convinced that I would have noticed it if it had been there before.
Of course, I don't know.
Thing is turquoise, like some iconic household appliance from the 1950s. Its color and pristine condition clashed so much with the surrounding weathered brick buildings that it would have been possible not to notice it. Standing in front of it, I could see it was the logo of a cartoon atom. A silver inlay beneath the name Oppenheimer's Opportunity. Calligraphy
So that's how you mine some shit? I don't know.
Beneath the atom was
Oh
the
my
infinity
god.
symbol, followed by the number 59.
Oh my god.
Which I assumed was supposed to be
There's a
read
lot.
as
God damn.
forever
So,
59.
man, I have a lot of sugar canes and I have a lot of bamboo.
It
I don't know.
had to have been a modern-day recreation. There's no way that it could have been over 65 years old. It still looks so good.
It'll last for 5 minutes, my crafter white tea. I don't know.
Fitting
It's fine. I don't know. I need that shit. Just one thing, and that's awesome. Yeah, there's some. You don't recommend that. I don't know. I just realized that because it's not a perfect app to actually app this. It's not a perfect licensing app.
Explain how the original
I don't
host
know.
figured out that he needed silver dimes to operate the thing. Why he didn't just come out and say it. I'm not sure that
Today, I don't know. Today we're going to, I don't know, find some.
I briefly considered leaving, possibly coming back.
I have a short ancient dude.
I figured there was no way this thing was the demon core or the elephant's foot.
Let's go back in the forest, dude.
Where to get a Geiger counter. And by the time I found one, it was entirely possible the phone would be gone before I got back. I would have wanted to let this opportunity slip through my fingers. Even if the phone was radioactive, brief exposure couldn't be that bad, right? I gingerly reached out to grab the receiver, holding a folded handkerchief for the radiation. It was heavy in my hands, and even through the handkerchief, I could feel it ever so slightly warm. It was enough to give me an uneasy feeling in my stomach, but nevertheless, slowly lifted it up to my ear to see if there was a dial tone. I was hardly surprised when it was completely dead. After testing it a bit by spinning the dial or tapping down on the hook,
Alright, yeah, I have 3 cooking pots and I have a lot of shit. So, yeah.
So, with nothing left to do, I dropped my silver dime into the slot.
Mm-hmm.
To see what would happen. As the dime passed through the slot with a rhythmic metallic clinking, I could feel soft vibrations as gears inside the phone whirred. And the receiver greeted me with a melodic, yet unsettling dial tone. I would describe it as forcefully cheery. Like it had to pretend that everything was wonderful, even though it was having the worst day of its life. It was a sensation that sank deeply into my brain and lingered for long after the call had ended. Thank you for using Oppenheimer's Opportunities Psychotronic Adaphone. Enthusiastic pre-recorded male voice greeted me.
Today we're going to the freaking mines. We're going to the
promise of post-war America that the rest of the world had long turned its back on. A promise of peace, prosperity, of nuclear power too cheap to meter, and nuclear families too precious.
Alright, we're going to the mines, and we're going to, I don't know. We're going to
a world where we respected rather than resented our betters. We're proudly dedicated to bringing you yesterday's tomorrow today.
So I have to go to my base, my laggy base with Henry in it. Yeah? Yeah.
We'd happily see the world reduced to radioactive ashes, then fall from its golden age. Which is why for us, year after year, it's forever 59. Please keep the receiver pressed firmly against your ear for the duration of the returning procedure. We're honing in on the optimal psychotronic signal to ensure maximum comfortability. Suboptimal signals can result in serious side effects, so for your own sake, do not attempt to interrupt the signal. If at any point during the procedure you experience any discomfort, don't be alarmed. This is normal. If at any point during the returning procedure you would like to make a phone call, we regret to inform you that service is currently unavailable. If at any point you would like the returning procedure to be terminated, you will be a grave disappointment to us.
Okay, so I'm going to mine all of it. I don't know. So it's gonna be 1 hour. I have to sit there for 1 hour, and yeah, it'll be awesome. And yeah, well, I'm gonna have to read that. I have to read that shit. I don't know why. So yeah.
The recording ended abruptly, replaced with the same insidiously insipid dial tone as before. I started pulling the receiver away from my ear, only to be struck by a strange sense of vertigo.
I'm gonna lag. Fuck yeah, I'm lagging, boys.
Until I placed the receiver back against my ear. around me had changed into the silent aftermath of a nuclear attack. Not just an attack, an apocalypse. Not a single building around me was left.
You think I have a new berry farm more than my
Everything was
thing.
toppled and
I don't
tumbling
know.
to
It's so
dust.
laggy. How many frames do I have? How many frames do I have? Oh my god.
The air was thick, gritty.
Yeah, I told you, man. I am not using this base for Minecraft reasons because I'm gonna so laggy, bro.
There was no trace left of
Oh
life
my
in
god.
it. Dead, dusty air that no one had breathed in years. Radiation shadows from the victims caught in the blast were scorched into the numerous nearby surfaces, many of which still bore tattered propaganda posters that were barely legible throughout the haze. The city had been bombed to hell and back, and no effort at cleanup or reconstruction had been made. It had been abandoned for years, if not decades. And yet, there was no overgrowth from plants reclaiming the land. Nothing grew here anymore. Nothing could. The sky above was a strange, shiny canopy of rippling clouds, illuminated only by a strange, pale light. Somehow I knew that radioactive fallout still fell from those clouds even to this day. Long ago, hundreds of gigatons of salted bombs had blasted civilization to ruins in a day while sweeping the earth in apocalyptic firestorms, throwing billions of tons of particles high up into the atmosphere. Now all was silent, except for that intolerable psychotronic dial tone and the insidiously howling wind. Only when I realized that those two were the only sounds did I realize that they were perfectly harmonized with one another. I looked up into the sky at the ash clouds that should have washed out long ago, and I realized it wasn't the wind that was howling. It was them. The ripples in the clouds were constantly forming into screaming and melting faces before dissipating back into the ash. I was instantly stricken with dread that they might notice me. I wanted so desperately to flee and cower in the rubble, but I was completely unable to move my feet. I wasn't even able to pull the phone away from my ear. So I did the only thing I could. Summoning all the strength and will that I could manage, I slowly lifted my free hand and placed my index finger into the...
Alright, if there's slime blocks, I can actually, I don't know.
Zero.
Oh my god.
Don't worry, came the same voices before. Through the phone, it sounded much more like a live person than recorded.
Alright, I'm gonna raid all the fucking shit, I don't know.
For us.
But yeah.
We just needed to see it. Nuclear annihilation is an existential fear no one ever knew before the Cold War. And it's one that's been far too quickly forgotten. One can never be galvanized to defend a world in decline, the same way they would a world under attack. A world rotting from within invites disillusionment, dissent, and despair. A world facing an external threat forces you to fight for it, to love it wholeheartedly, warts and all. Without the threat of annihilation, every crack in the sidewalk is compared to perfection. And we bemoan the lack of a utopia, as if that were something we were entitled to, unjustly denied. When you see the cracks in the sidewalk,
Alright then, I'm gonna farm more marshall bolts. If it doesn't have any stuff, I know. I have five stuff, so I don't know. So I might have some difficulties. Alright then.
Radioactive waste and mutually assured destruction stunted the progress of atomic energy in your world. The instinct to fear fire is natural, but the drive to understand and tame it is fundamental to humanity and civilization. Why? Born of complacency, as easily as it is from cynicism.
Oh,
You must love and fight for both the present and
I have respiration, so I don't know. It's kind of awesome.
My head still turned upwards, eyes still locked on space flooding the clouds. Now, son, I already told you that this thing can't make phone calls. And then son, but not without some irony. But to put it simple,
Oh my god, bro, what the fuck?
the next that went off in this world weren't just salted. They were spiced, too. The sound waves produced by blasts were designed to have a particularly psychotronic resonance.
Damn, what the fuck?
Human consciousness that heard it literally explode after it.
Oh my god. Give me more, please. Oh, what the fuck?
Attention, my own head, having already gone far from comfortable. That's right, Cabrera! The intention was just to maximize the body count. There was an even darker side effect, that the bomb makers hadn't dared to reveal.
This is bad, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad.
Those
Bad.
disembodied consciousnesses didn't just go and line up at the pearly gates. No, sir. Caught in a psychotronic wave, they rode it all the way up into the stratosphere and got caught. Planet-spanning astronauts. Their minds were perpetually stuck in a pessimistic gap. But since their screens are all in perfect resonance with each other, they just so loud. Louder. When you hear it, what wins? It's billions of disembodied voices. And the stratosphere amplified the voices of people. All the way down.
Jesus Christ, man. The hell? Oh my god. Die, bro. What the hell?
Oh, not to worry, son. As long as you don't resonate with them, you'll be fine. You sure do want to follow me, Tom. Your head won't explode. If you won't get stuck up there in the ash cloud, just listen to the dial tone, let your mind resonate with the stuff. Once you believe in the wonders of the atomic age, you will be free here on the atomic telephone. Your mind, the only signals coming from the phone up the sky. Son, Paxton Brink doesn't lie. My psychotronic returning makes it impossible for me to consciously acknowledge any kind of cognitive dissonance. Well, tried to assure me. So when I tell you something, you had better believe that this is the one and only truth in my heart. That's what makes me such a great salesman, CEO, and war propagandist. Honestly. The screaming coming from the cloud is both real and fatal. And if you don't let the Adaphone's counter-signal do its thing, I'm telling you, your goose is cooked. Sorry, is it just cooked now? Is that what the kids are saying? You're cooked, son. Fans do. You said yourself, this isn't real. You wanted me to see the apocalypse so that I'll embrace salvation, your salvation. There are no ghosts in the fallout. Just only to be too afraid to reject you, to hang up before you finish doing whatever it is you're trying to do to me. There was a long pause when I heard nothing. Screaming ghosts, screeching dial tone before Brittany spoke again. If you really believe it, go ahead and hang up the phone. I suggested. Come. I stood there.
An ominous key, alright, nice, not so we got an ominous key. Alright, whatever.
My fingers still clutching the
my
receiver
God.
and pressing it up against my ear.
What about this shit?
I closed my eyes and tried to ignore the nuclear hellscape around me, trying to focus on the fact that if it wasn't real, the dial-tone that was trying to rewrite my brain was the real threat, not the imagined ghosts in the fallout-saturated stratosphere. But the louder the dial-tone grew, the less forcefully curious. It didn't sound sincere necessarily, but it sounded better than eternity with the fallout ghost. I began to wonder if it would be better to end up like this. This is such a horrible thing. But it'd be more rational to choose the more pleasant path. It was a weird thing to ensure that my mind was slowly but surely, I gradually loosened my grip on the receiver and tried to slip from my hand. As the sound of the dial tone faded, the vertigo that I had felt on the floor came back tenfold, and An instantly debilitating cluster headache overcame me as I cried out and collapsed to the ground. The pain was so intense I could barely think, and for a moment I did truly think that my head was about to explode and that my consciousness was to be condemned to a radioactive ash cloud for all eternity. Before I lost consciousness, I remember hearing a Brinkman's voice say, wafted distant dreamlight that was gently receding. Son, that a grave is when I woke up, I was in the hospital. Someone had called an ambulance after they found me collapsed outside. When I told the healthcare worker my story, they told me there'd been no phone there, and they had phone. We weren't sure what was wrong with me. Lying, delirious. They kept me drugged.
No, I almost dropped my sword. I almost dropped my sword, bro. There's too many, oh look, there's so many slimes. There's too many slimes, so who made this slime part? This is bullshit.
The doctors estimated that I was exposed to at least 200 rads of radiation, maybe more. It's too soon to say if I received a fatal dose, but definitely would have been bone cancer. The doctors are flabbergasted over how I could have received so much radiation, and there are specialists sweeping the streets with Geiger counters to find an orphan source. I wish I knew where I could have gotten one of those earlier. Again, I suppose I was warned,
Thank you.
I'm a real estate agent, fairly new to the job. Was only wrapping a house on behalf of the bank. Handed to me 2 days ago. Because the previous tenant had died, it was able to leave all their belongings behind. I'm something of an amateur historian, so occasionally I go looking through the belongings. It's the property of the bank anyway. It's become part and parcel of the house. You know, for any new buyers. Yesterday, I was surveying the property. I came across an old notebook resting on the desk in the study, right there. As if it wanted me to find it. It didn't look that old. When I opened it, the words inside were written in crayon. Clearly, in an adult's handwriting. Contents were fairly disturbing, and my boss prohibited me from taking it to the police. Fiction. Wasting my time. As per the instructions in the text, I'm sharing it here just I'm Darren, sir. I'm 26 years old. I'm a former IT technician. I'm survived by my mom, my dad, my sister, and buddy. And my dog. I used to have an apartment. I used to have a life. Now, I live in the wall. For reasons I won't go into, it made me jobless and homeless. I could have reached out to my family. I should have. But I've always been a stubborn guy and I wanted to handle this myself. My family aren't exactly rich. I don't want to be a burden. I get back on my feet. It's hard. It was harder than I anticipated. Nights of sleeping rough or cowering in a shelter, my bag clutched to my chest out of fear of being shanked by one of the city's more hopeless destitutes. An ache in my body that seeped into my very bones, for which seemingly no warmth could serve as a panacea. An ache I dulled with alcohol, and eventually prescription drugs, illicitly obtained from an old wino in 6th Street shelter, though I seem to have a healthy supply. By the time I was in desperate need of help, I was too far gone to acknowledge it. I spied the house by chance, exploring a new neighborhood for some prospective panhandling. I scoped it out for days. It was an unassuming Victorian townhouse, good part of the city, for sale signs swinging old, forgotten.
Nice.
Yard. White paint, blue trim, lace curtains. Most importantly, a window into the basement that I could easily jimmy. I lurked in the area watching the house. Nobody was coming or going. It was clear to me that nobody lived there still. Cycling alcohol and drug addicts ringing hundreds of houses. I made sure. All I wanted was a place to sleep for a few nights. I wasn't going to vandalize the property or steal anything. A warm bed, hopefully running water, a place to recuperate and collect myself away from the coming and goings of others. They voted for me. Safe and comfort. A temporary illusion. And just a moment. Keep it going. As I stood through the basement window on that fateful Friday night, hope was on my mind. This could be the turning point for me to collect myself together. Move on with no news nonetheless. I'm trying to reach out to a friend. I felt as I dropped onto that bare concrete floor, my eyes adjusting and settling. Hope. Does it represent hope? It's a place where hope comes to die. Upstairs, every surface was coated in a thin layer of dust. Nothing severe, but enough to tell me that my suspicions were correct. The house was empty. It was decorated like a standard townhouse, old-fashioned furniture, beige carpets, knickknacks in the living room. Locked door downstairs led to a study, perhaps. Grandfather clock stood in the hall, silent, unwound. My feet squeaked over the tile floors as I headed towards the stairs. And I winced at the sound, even knowing I was alone. The house felt empty. An old, musty smell wafted through the room. The ghost of an older inhabitant, perhaps, which hadn't been aired since they departed. Had they left of their own volition? Had they died? Nothing tells me the latter. But even the prospect that they departed, despite it being that
Fine low.
didn't sway me. My legs ached, my head hurt. I needed my pills, and I needed rest. Upstairs promised a bed. Soft mattress. Respite. The master bedroom had all the trappings of a his and hers cohabitation. A king-size double bed took up most of the room, opposite which I spied a built-in
Early morning? The fuck?
into which I peered. An old lady's dresses, old man's suits, hanging mothballs from heaven, smelling faintly of mildew. I noticed a hatch at the back of the wardrobe, which I figured must have led to further storage there. A vanity table sat by one window, a chest of drawers on the opposite wall. The small bedside clock worked, thankfully, and I could see it was nearly midnight. I could explore the rest of the house tomorrow. Right then, I needed rest. Suddenly, absolutely. I collapsed under the bed. So soft. Softer than I felt in months. Just before I drifted off into a dreamless sleep, it struck me that I hadn't seen a single photograph in the house, not framed on the mantle or hanging on the walls. It wasn't too strange, I thought. The previous occupants must have taken them. My brain, sleep deprived, didn't consider the fact that it had taken nothing. I awoke to sunlight streaming through the window. I felt rested, recovering, strangely awake and scary. back suddenly. Of all the awful luck, I panicked, scrambling out of bed, eyes darting around the room. I couldn't leave. Lord knows where she was in the house. Sure, I likely could overpower an old woman, but there was no way I was doing that unless I absolutely had to. I'm not a monster. I remember the crawl space and the built-in wardrobe. It seemed as good an option as any. I darted to it, pulled it open. The cabinet's black space wouldn't be open. Without thinking, I pulled shut the wardrobe door behind me and slipped into the dark. The area I found myself in was cold. I was pressed up against the wall. Pins, claustrophobic corridor between the walls. I stood there for a moment, catching my breath, trying to calm myself. Sun was down, crackling, white, and beautiful. Looking into the bedroom. At over 6 feet tall, I was barely able to peer through it. The door to the bedroom opened and an old woman entered. As I say old, she was ancient, withered, round-shouldered crone. Shuffled in, peering around with beady eyes. Her face wrinkled like a prune, twitched as if she was sniffing the air. And I was a beautiful, melodic, unsimulated from
What the fuck?
The woman moved around the room, tutting at the end of the bed. I hope she'd forgotten the state in which she'd left it. Icy fear gripped my spine. Beside the bed, I saw it, my bag, my worldly possessions, my pills were in there, my booze, my driver's license. Shit! I said a silent prayer that the old woman wouldn't notice. I couldn't afford to be caught. I couldn't. During my homeless days, I'd been arrested twice. Once for aggravated assault against a businessman in a bar who provoked me and looked presentable enough for the law to come down on his side, despite witness testimony. Once for public drunkenness. Managed to avoid jail time, but I knew if I got caught breaking and entering, that'd be it. They'd lock me up. I wouldn't go to jail. I couldn't. I almost wept with relief as the old woman turned away from the side of the bed on which my bag rested. She shuffled out of view towards the vent I stood behind. Her humming drifted up into the walls, haunting and soothing. Then the notes began to transform, shifting into a cruel, crackling laugh. I held firm, heart pounding my chest. There was no way that little old lady could have seen me in the vent. No way. With a shriek, her withered old face appeared in front of me, staring directly through the vent, over 6 feet high. Her eyes, yellowing, were wide and malevolent. Her mouth split open in a rictus grin, revealing a smattering of rotten teeth. She shrieked and howled, eyes locked onto mine gleefully. I stumbled backwards in as little space as I had, cracking my skull against the brickwork behind me. Somewhere to my right, I heard a loud metallic slam. The air tasted suddenly too thin, too clogged with brick dust. I had to get out of there. I no longer cared about overpowering the old crone. I'd risk it. I stumbled back to the crawl space door. I pushed on it. Unyielding metal met my touch. I shoved harder, my shoulders meeting brick. Unable to get a good purchase. Nothing. Let me out, I called. Please! The old woman was gone. Her voice muffled by the walls. Welcome home, my baby. There's so emotional. I explored the inside of those walls for 3 whole days. There was no way in or out save for that removable crawl space door through which I entered. It soon became clear to me that the house had been designed so the passage inside the walls was possible. To get between floors and vertical shaft lined with metal running. 3 accessible floors. I couldn't reach the basement with walls, but I could freely explore the first floor day of searching and screaming, tracking the old woman between rooms only to be ignored every time. I poked my head out of the shaft leading to the top floor. Here I found a larger open space almost fit for human habitation. Filthy mattress lay in one corner, sand sheets or bedding. In the other was a toilet, also filthy, but fully functional. A journal, oddly new, dust-free, settled on the mattress alongside a pack of crayons. The floor made of bricks looked recently swept. The old woman had clearly been here at some point in the recent past. I looked around for another entrance. There was none. This meant the old crone had crawled through the walls herself to get here. While searching for an exit, I made a grisly discovery. In an alcove, high up on the wall, 3 skulls sat very down at me. Hesitantly, I reached out for one, looking for something, anything, as used as a tool and means of escape. Skulls cemented in place. They felt like a message. Two further days passed, during which time I slept on my dirty mattress, in between searching desperately for an escape. I was starving, thirsty, delirious from malnutrition, dehydration, and fear. Every time I slid through the walls, I felt a brick pressing down on my chest. The house itself was squeezing the life from me. On the 3rd day, throat dry and hoarse from screaming, I made my way down to the kitchen vent and saw the old woman preparing a bloody meal at the counter. Strands of stringy meat parted under her large, gleaming knife. I eyed the blade with longing, unsure what I could achieve with it. Nevertheless, the weight of the knife in my hand would have made me feel better. Instead, I begged for food and water. The old woman looked up at the vent and gave me a smile, her teeth stained with blood as she chewed on a raw cut of the meat. I caught sight of the garbage can and saw what looked like a cat's tail hanging over the edge. My gorge rose in my throat, and I stifled a cry. All the while, hunger bubbled in my belly. Please, I need to eat, I croaked. The old woman scuttled towards me and momentarily disappeared out of my sight. When her face appeared in the vent, I was too tired and drained to even react. I had no idea how she'd gotten up so high. Chair positioned beneath me. The whole process had been silent. Perhaps in my state, I simply just hadn't noticed. I'll feed you, Pappy, the old woman said, and I let out a sigh of relief and thanks. But no, you listen, she went on. I'll feed you, but only if you're good. No funny business, Pappy, you hear? Because I know. You go up to your bedroom like a good little girl, and I'll ring the bell for you. Come to the door in the bedroom, and those treats will await. Understand, Pappy? I didn't have the energy to question her, or ask why she was calling me a good little girl. Back chatting anyway, I simply nodded, sniffled back tears, and began the long crawl back to my room. The old woman kept her promise. And when a tinkling bell echoed through the interior of the house, I made my way down to the metal door and found a steaming plate of cooked meat waiting for me. My stomach ached and I was too ravenous to think too hard about it. I wolfed it down on the spot, swigging from the plastic water bottle beside it. The routine continued for a week. My body felt like it was atrophying. The withdrawal symptoms from the alcohol and pills had kicked in full force now. Simply dragging myself up and down the shafts was an effort I could rarely expend. Mostly I laid retching in my filthy attic room, emerging only to retrieve the daily meals the old crone provided. After several days, my strength felt like it was returning, and I decided to wait by the metal door, hoping I could surprise the old woman when she came to feed me. She never came. Nor did she come for the next 3 days. Your punishment, Abby. She crowed from the study when I tracked her there, begging and pleading. She barely even looked up from the old book she was examining. I never tried that again. Instead, I began to chronicle my experiences in a journal. This seemed to please the old woman. Despite my lack of mentioning the procedure, I was granted a little more food, 2 bottles of water a day. I kept writing after that, and I'm up to date now. Yesterday, I woke in fear from a particularly restful deep sleep. I was sure somebody else was in my room. Scrambled up the mattress, croaking in fear and warning. In the darkness, I could make out a pink shape in the corner. As sleep slipped away and my night vision returned, I could make out what it was. A dress. I walked over to it hesitantly. For my pretty little girl, in the red and elaborate cursive. I looked down at the dress. My own clothes were filthy, stained with dirt and dust. God knows what else. They itched. They felt disgusting. My beard, which had grown big and itched. My hair felt greasy and vile. Change of clothes at the very least would have been welcome, but this was preposterous. The idea of wearing a pink woman's dress felt degrading. I ignored the gift, kicking it angrily into the corner. Later, I found myself spying in the bathroom. I'd previously always avoided that room after checking earlier on for viable exit routes. The last thing I wanted to see was the old bat showering. That day, though, simply staring longingly at the clean, tiled bathroom was a luxury that I decided to allow myself. To my horror, the old woman entered, thankfully fully dressed. She didn't look up at me as she proceeded to clean the sink. "You're not wearing your cousin," she said. Her back to me, her voice gentle, an air of menace. How the hell did she even know? She could only see my face through the vent. She hadn't even looked at me. My head swam with anger. "Fuck your present." I knew as soon as I said it, that was a mistake. The old woman whirled around, her face contorted into a wrinkled ball of malice. "Abby, I will not tolerate that language," she groaned. "You're a bad, disgusting girl, and I'm starting to regret ever allowing you into my home." "Yeah," I said. "Yeah, I'm awful. I'm a terrible house guest. You should throw me out. Let me go. Okay, I won't tell anyone. I won't. I'm too ashamed of what a bad guest I've been. I'll just go. Get out of your life and leave you in peace." The crones, the redhead bound, led a shrill, hooting cackle. "Boy, Babby thinks I'm soft in the head," she exclaimed, to nobody in particular. "Some senile old bat, I'll tell you little brat. Our current president is Trump. It's August 2017. The sky is blue, the grass is green, and my name is..." She paused. I waited with bated breath. I learned absolutely nothing about my captor. If I could call her by her name, maybe that would shift the power balance at least slightly. "You almost got me," she hummed. Anyway, Babby, if you don't like your gift, maybe I'll find someone who will." The idea of having companies, macabre and selfish as it was, gave me a spike of optimism. Perhaps with the 2 of us, escape would be more forthcoming. Too afraid to write, too afraid to let my guard down. She's in every room now. Everywhere I go, she's there, humming and guffawing, staring at me, her face pressed to the bed to possibly hide. Her eyes grow more deranged by the day. It's like she's excited and she's waiting for something. Things are strange in the house that are stranger than usual. I keep hearing other voices emanating from the rooms. When I make my way to them, it's only the old woman. I definitely hear others, men, women, children. Something's going on in the house. It's maddening. Always just out of my line of sight, always moving when I chase it down. Things are changing too, I think. I find myself inside the walls of a room I'm sure I've never seen before. Perhaps it is the basement. Perhaps I got down there without realizing it. It's a large room with my candles, decorated with black drapes. There's a table in the middle. I don't know what's on it. I can't quite see. The old woman wasn't in that room. Nevertheless, I was sure I wasn't alone. I thought I could hear breathing deep and heavy just below the grate. I scrambled away, pulling myself through the tight gaps. Somehow I finally got back to my room. It took hours. I got lost inside the bricks of this infernal house. I'm scared to explore further. I'm scared of where I might end up. The walls are closing in on me. The house feels like it's getting tighter around me. She stopped feeding me. I haven't eaten or drank in 5 days. I can barely move. It's all I can do to muster the strength to leave these final words, should my words be found along with my body. I need the binder to make them public. I need my mom and my dad and my sister to know that I didn't abandon them. I need you to warn them never to enter this house. I need to be able to move with strength. Because I'm not alone anymore. I can hear them creeping through the tunnel, sliding through the gaps, getting closer. I live in her walls, and there's someone living in her walls with me. So, there you go. I don't like being in this house anymore. I called up the bank. I asked how the property came into their possession. The old woman who owned it died. They said she died years and years ago. Mired in debts. Lost her daughter and her husband. It was the beginning of the end. Somehow the property got lost in the system. Only recently the bank discovered it was their asset. I checked in that wardrobe, of course. No crawl space there, just a blank, solid wall. I keep trying to dismiss the notebook. The flight of fancy story planted there for someone's amusement. A prank on the new girl, my boss's behalf. I've been in that house a lot these last 2 days, preparing it for sale, and every time I'm there, I hear scratching in the walls. I hear movement. I keep feeling like I'm being watched from the vents that line every room. I hate being there. The walls feel like they're closing in. I mean, I'm in the house now, in fact, finishing up before I leave for the day, and I can hear movement in the walls. Again, I keep telling myself it's rats. It's just rats. It doesn't sound like rats. I think I need to leave. Ever find yourself jobless, angry, and fed up? If not, I envy your life. Fortunately, that's the state I find myself in. Worked at a grocery store for about a decade. Customer decided to get rough with one of the other employees over some goddamn baby formula. One punch later, they were getting a couple $100 in gift certificates not to sue, and I'm out the door. I'd say, funny how life works. Really, there's nothing funny about my situation. So there I sit, combing through Reddit for some horror to take my mind off my impending financial doom, watching 80s slasher films when that gets old, and rereading my Stephen King collection, of course. I mean, it'd be a good life if I wasn't sneaking ever closer to starvation. One day though I get a chat request, right? Accepted. See a phone number. My first thought is that it's from some kind of ARG, so wallowing in shame, worry, and boredom, I give it a call. Thank you for calling Project Insomnia. How may I direct your call? An upbeat female voice says. Got sent this number on Reddit, so I'm wondering what everything's about. I reply. Good for you. I'll connect your call, the voice replies. After a few minutes of hold music that's exactly as you'd expect, someone answers. Nathan, glad you decided to call. I've heard you're looking for employment and enjoy horror, am I correct? The professional-sounding man says. I'm a little weirded out. I'm not the type to use my name online much. Of course, that is my name, but stand-in. I'm sure you all know that. And I certainly haven't been posting about my financial state. So, this, anyway. But people who run ARGs can get really into the weeds, so I don't really think of it too much. Right on both accounts. Why? I reply. We have an opportunity for you. 2 weeks of your time, using your skills, $20K. The voice says, God, I can't use that money in real life. But hey, it'll keep my mind off things while I wait for some answers on resumes, so sign me up, I answer. Nathan, I think you're misunderstanding. We're not running any kind of game. I'm offering you money for your time. The voice sounds mildly annoyed. Really? Well, I'll bite. What's the catch? Is this some kind of MLM, pyramid scheme? What's going on? I ask. Details can be given in person. I'll send you a location. We can meet and see if you feel the job is a good fit. I'd request you bring a suitcase in case you feel like taking us up on our offer. There are many other people who have been chosen, and time is a factor, the voice explains. I get some mild BS vibes from his statements, but it's not like I have a full schedule. A couple days later, I find myself in a small diner a couple of towns over, sitting with a man in a plain black suit. He doesn't seem nervous, but there's a vigilance in his eyes, like he's used to watching out for things. Glad to see you've made it. You wouldn't believe how hard it is to get people to believe you're paying 20 grand, the man in front of me says. I would. I'm waiting for the part where you tell me it's split up over a decade, requires a 5K deposit. Before that, though, can I know who I'm talking to? I asked. You can call me Adrian, and I assure you what I'm offering is real. By the end of this meeting, if you so choose, I'll have the money in your account, is Adrian's reply. There is some silence. The waitress comes over. Anything I can get for you two? Middle-aged lady asks. Coffee for me. And a clubhouse sandwich with fries for my friend. Adrian replies. I'm not shocked that he knew what I'd order, nor amused. Whoever these people are, they've dug into me. So you're trying really hard to cultivate a mysterious aura. And I know it's working, though, what's the job? I say. Simple, really. We want you to watch horror. Lots of it. For extended periods of time. And give your observations. Adrian said. Is this some kind of, AI training shit? I'm not desperate, I replied. No, Nathan. You'll be watching real people. Nothing artificial about it. But I know the question you're really asking. Why are we offering you so much money for something you do every day? Well, you hope to get a call back from the sanitation office or a McDonald's. The answer is not going to be as exciting as you think. Your accommodations are going to be rather Spartan, somewhere between a small apartment and a prison cell. We need secrecy, a high volume of participants, hence the arrangement, Adrian explained. My food comes. I feel like I'm under a microscope as I eat, Adrian's eyes dissecting my every movement. So, there's some kind of test run, I'm guessing, like Halloween-themed attractions at an amusement park. You're paying for me to shop about it more than anything? Question. Adrian gives a half shrug. Close enough for government work. So what's the verdict? I have 2 more people I have to see tonight. Adrian offers, sliding over a small stack of papers and a pen. I read through the contract, smirking a little. This is some McKamey Manor stuff here, Eddie. Like, this part about consenting to methods of encouragement that may lead to physical harm. You can't sign away your rights against assault. So clearly you guys aren't going to be knocking anyone's teeth out. Adrian smiles. No one in the organization has any intent to put hands on you. Astute observation, though. You want my opinion? Remove those parts. Just let people imagine what bad things can happen. All the real bits seem in order. So, what about my money? The grin Adrian gives me should have been my warning sign, but I was too busy getting a notification. $20,000. A nearly empty bank account. Jesus, Murphy, you weren't kidding, were you? Like someone tried to turn a submarine brig into a bachelor pad, I said, looking around the small room. There's a bed with thin sheets, a large desk with a few dozen monitors, and that's about it. Enough room to maybe do some push-ups, but nothing more. One thing I noticed right off the bat is how the monitors were constructed. Thick, textured plastic leads to the wall, locking each one of them in place. They're hardwired into the electrical system, the plugs being reinforced and grounded behind the wall. There's a small vent in the ceiling doing its damnedest to minimize the musty odor of the place. The toilet is what I expect. Stainless steel and industrial, but at least it's clean. The door gives me pause. Thick steel with a slot in the middle. If the project takes off, maybe we'll look into making the workspace more comfortable, Adrian offers. Like you could make it any less so. But hey, 20K makes it seem a lot bigger than it is, am I right? I reply. Meals are served 3 times a day. We've not found any dietary restrictions in our research on you, but if you have any, feel free to let us know. You may keep your cellular device, but usage in most cases will be seen as contrary to the rules outlined in the contract. Once daily, you will be expected to give a report on what you're seeing on the monitors. Attention to detail is key, Adrian explains. Okay, so this is kind of like a night trap meets escape room situation, I say. Sitting down in a small computer chair, looking at the bank of various monitors. There's that attention to detail we're looking for. Watch the monitors, Nathan, Adrian says, closing the steel door. Wanna know what I'm feeling? Joy. Yeah, everything is grimy and eerie as hell, but it's supposed to be. I'm alpha testing something or other, an immersive horror game maybe. I light up a cigarette, and I immediately notice 2 things. The first is that all the monitors are showing 3 different places, about a half dozen scenes apiece, give or take. Second's just how varied these screens are. Some are crystal clear, some are antiques, but all are behind a layer of almost imperceptible bulletproof glass. I don't know it's bulletproof glass. I don't, but it's clear, can't scratch it, can't put a scorch mark on it. Most of the monitors are dull. Fast food place, gas station, inside of a house. After a while, though, someone comes home. Nice-looking lady, early 30s or so, smartly dressed, coming home late at night. I've been watching paint dry for hours, instantly drawn to anything resembling action. The hell am I doing here, I say, frustrated as I watch her through an impeccable screen. The house is dark. Her kitchen lights obscure the background. Shadows play like feral cats in her room and pantry. I yawn, wondering when dinner is. For that matter, what time it is. Then I see it on one of the older monitors. Could just be glitches from the ancient tech, but I swear it's a pair of eyes. Hold on. It makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up, but
Oh, yeah.
if they're here, they're gone. Woman turns, looking to where the apparition once was. She does her fridge door. As she does, her fridge door closes, whether its own accord or something else. It's unclear. Nice. Okay. Complimenting the scare. Theater or no, my heart's racing. Boring hours fly by like water, dangerous lake. My brought something they assure me is dinner. Meatloaf, heavy on loaf, really green beans, and cornbread I debate on keeping for dinner. At least the coffee wasn't given to me in a 2-liter carafe.
The fuck?
I look away when the woman starts
No, what the hell, boy?
starting to think this is live improv and meeting someone after I've seen the naked scenes. Gross. One lamp on a desk lights her as she places modest jewelry in expensive cases. There's a noise. Keening wail. The woman turns around, seeing nothing. That is the way it looks.
What the hell, boy?
Black and white.
What the frick is wrong with me? What is wrong with me?
Right in front of you, I scream. But she can't hear me. The objects in the room rattle. It's enough to scare the wits out of the woman. She bolts to her bedroom door. The thing, that mournful thing, grabs her by the arms. The sleeve of the woman's housecoat crumbles. The flesh beneath it begins to wither. She tries to pull free, but the grip of the specter is immovable. She hammers down a hand, and somehow after 3 frantic blows, the spirit lets go, growling in rage. The woman gets distance between herself and the ghost, but the undead doesn't bother to move. Small furniture flies like it's been caught in a tornado. Windows rattle and fracture, sending broken glass and waves onto the carpet. The woman takes a wrong step, lacerating her foot. She holds onto a banister for support. The ghost laughs. The woman rises up. She's being picked up by one leg. She screams now, begging. Blood pours from her torn foot to her eyes. The spirit dangles her in midair. Her arm begins to twist and warp.
What the hell? What the?
I cover the speaker, but it's no use. I can hear her pain.
What the frick is wrong with me, bro? I did press it, bro.
The
Press it.
falls. The feed on that set of monitors cuts out,
Yeah.
jarred back to reality. Sweat beating, nails digging into the armrest of the cheap chair. Well done, guys. Doesn't usually run for ghost stories with us. That was damn near worth the time. I say to whoever's keeping tabs on me. A few more hours of staring at the screens. There's a loud klaxon, jarring small room. The monitor is shut off, and a pre-recorded voice says, "Now begins your 10-hour rest period." With a handful of breathing that double fall asleep. Not the least of which is the amount of coffee I've had. A close second are those noises. I've watched everything from Psycho, great, and the Serbian film, which is horrible.
The hell, man?
Once has audio stuck with me so much. I'm woken by that same eardrum punching tone. Before I can brush the sleep from my eyes, a breakfast is shoved through a sloppy door. About as well made as dinner was. More coffee, and half a cigarette later, I hear a voice from an unseen speaker. "Hey, Nathan," the voice says. I can hear Percy. "That's me," I reply. "Hi, call me Percy. I'm asking you a few questions about what you watched the previous day. If you have any for me by any means, just let me know." The voice is level, friendly. "I was expecting Adrian, to be honest," I said. Percy laughs. "This is a little below his pay grade. I'm just a guy working a job, like yourself. Bit nicer digs. I'm also not making 2K a day." I smile. "So, what do you want to know?" I ask. "Well, I'd like for you to give me your overall impression of what you've seen, with particular attention to things that stood out, or may have seemed odd," Percy replied. "The format's neat. You think you get obnoxious, but those actors you hired, those effects, they make it worthwhile. I cut down a little on the dead air, though. The ghosts are scary, especially the wounding around the face. Unique is probably the right word. Second effect blew me away. The one thing, though, why did the ghost let go when the lady hit? Didn't make any sense. Maybe it's just I don't know, like a Bible or something. But as is, I don't know, kind of killed the vibe. It seemed a little lazy, or I guess silly. Good catch, mate. I'll have the higher-ups have a look into that. Not a bad way to earn a few grand, huh?" Percy replied. "It'd be better if I wasn't hanging around with the ghosts of my own farts. That vent isn't doing a damn thing," I joked. The next 3 days go on in much the same way. I scan the monitors till something spooky happens, and do my best to point all the plot holes and stupid things I find. Not that there's much to pick apart. The variety alone makes things worthwhile. I'm seeing Ghosts, demons, a couple of slasher villain types, and a handful of different creatures despite the sponge baths and stale air. Honestly, it's a dream job. But I wouldn't be posting here if the dream didn't turn into it like that. Day 5 shows me what this place is really about. Breakfast comes the same as always. A dish I dub gray eggs due to their color and my love of good portmanteau. I answer some questions, and the last thing I watched, some kind of Monster Fight Club, seemed way too action-oriented, more like fantasy than horror, really. And I get ready for another day. My selection consists of an empty barn, a deep forest, and... Adrian, I said in the interview, no AI bullshit. I'm out. Open the door, and if you want your 20K back, you can see me in court. I'm not going to be part of the downfall of art. Okay. No reply. My issue is, I'm recognizing one of the places I'm watching on the set of monitors. Kumar's Comics. Now, I'm not much of a geek, but I've been known to buy a comic or two. While I'm not in there every day, I know the owners well enough. Kumar and Jaspreet Patel. A little over middle-aged. Kind of folks that truly love what they do. There's no way other than some kind of generative special effects that I'm watching there. Guys, I'm serious, I say. I'm trying to sound enraged, but I hear the anxiety in my voice.
What?
Okay.
But I did say it, bro. Come on.
Tossing in my artistic morals to the wind. The more I watch, the more people I know I see. The more I'm actually impressed. I ain't saying anything good about AI, but if I didn't know better, I'd swear I was actually watching cameras hidden in the shot. The longer I watch, the more I think that this can't just be some kind of special effect.
The fuck?
I try to shake the thought, but
Come on, please.
as hours slowly tick by, it's all I can think about. What can I do? How can I prove things one way or another?
One do the hit.
My hand starts to move towards the plan forming. The second I grab it, a loudspeaker distorted voice hits me like a slap in the face. Nathan, do you know much about firing squad? Adrian said, his voice calm. No, why? I stuttered. In any firing squad, one man is given a rifle loaded with a blank. None of them know.
No way, bro.
The reason why is that certain actions carry a weight, one that's too heavy to carry for most, no matter how noble the intention. It leaves that sliver of doubt that maybe you didn't really do anything. It's how most members of a firing squad sleep at night. If you make that phone call, it's only going to make things harder for you. Cling to that doubt. Cling to it like a life raft. Adrian explained. What are you saying? I asked. Anna. As little as possible. For your sake. And I have to remind you, using your device to communicate is against the rules of your contract and will be dealt with. Adrian grinned. I feel like I'm on the edge of a cliff. On one hand, I know this is all just some game, spooking me out of this joint. On the other, a lot of things aren't adding up. I dial the number, I hear the ring echo through the monitors. My heart drops, I feel sick to my stomach. My phone disconnects when I look down. I can see the 4 emergency calls only, not just a string of strange, illegible characters. I hear Adrian sigh, then the speaker cuts out. A few seconds later, the industrial toilet sink combination starts spewing water. It goes on for minutes, soaking everything in the room and leaving about 3 inches of standing water. I'm shivering and scared, and I understand how truly fucked I am. Watch the monitors, Nathan. You may not understand, but you're helping to save life as we know it. The day slowly trickles by. Every customer, every shadow makes my heart stop. Around 11 p.m., Kumar and Jaspreet begin to close down the shop. I think maybe they're safe. Listen out of the feeds where nothing happens. No one likes being proven wrong. myself included. The door wasn't locked. A short, stocky man in a dragging raincoat and beat-up fedora walks in. Sorry, buddy, store's closed. Open up bright and early tomorrow, though, Kumar says. The man ignores him. The stranger, faded plaid coat, catches on a set of action figures, knocking them over. Sir, show a little more care, please, Jaspreet says, nicer than necessary. The stranger laughs mockingly. I catch an angle of his face. Pale, red tongue full of small lesions, almost like burns. But as he grins, I see it. Each of his teeth are small clusters of wires. Get out. Come on, fucking run! I scream at the screen. But of course they can't hear me. I know what this guy is, or at the very least what he's capable of. I can't just sit here. What choice do I have? Yesterday I probably said he's the worst thing I've ever seen. He's not really scary. His gimmick seems tacky. The thought makes me sick to my stomach. The callousness I viewed people's trauma with. I vomit. The noise it makes in the standing water makes me retch a second time. Okay, Dick Tracy, it's time to get out of my store before I call the cops. You have 10 seconds, Kumar says in a commanding tone. The stranger snickers again and turns to Kumar and his wife. I don't speak Hindi, but the spot man does. What he says shocks Kumar enough to pick up the phone and dial 911. But of course, there's no dial tone. The lights flicker, then dim, then go out completely. Kumar and Jaspreet use their phones as the light, trying to find their way to the door. They reach it, but it doesn't budge. Kumar begins to rattle the door. There's an electric arcing sound, then...
Okay, guys, I'm tired. I'm actually gonna...
I don't catch much of the violence. By the time the stranger sinks his teeth into Kumar, they both drop their phones. Feed cuts out. I feel lightheaded, like nothing is real. But it is. All of it. I just watched people I know get killed by a C-list urban legend. I don't sleep. By the time I hear Percy, I'm staring angrily at the wall. Hey, I got about 10 seconds to talk. You need to think about this like getting drafted into a world war. It sucks. It's gonna change you, but it's for the fate of the world, Percy says. His voice panicked. Why the hell are you doing this? Why are you killing people? I scream. We're not. Every place you watched is the result of months of research. Even then, it doesn't always pan out. But the higher-ups, they don't fuck around, okay? Do your time, get out. Don't let anything get in the way of that. Percy pleads. From then on, things don't feel interesting or exciting. Knowing what I know, the violence hits home. It fucks with my head. The worst are the stupid ones, the kind of things I'd share with my family for the sole purpose of mocking the writer. Something about a creature or spirit that can be accurately described as cringeworthy, taking someone's life. It's shocking and dismal. And there's the cell itself. After the first day of standing, water spots of mold and veins and mildew start to develop on the wall. A couple of days after that, I got a cough that won't quit. It's my second concern, beyond what I believe is a piece of trench foot. Things are miserable. The torture, really. By day 10, it's all I can do to focus on the screens in front of me. I'm running a fever, one of my toes is turning a foul shade of green. That morning's breakfast comes with a familiar-looking stack of papers. I laugh and cough. And I see blood in the flame. Contract, like 2 weeks of my life, to have the water drain and some antibiotics. Of course, there's another $20K in it for me, but at this point, I'd burn the goddamn money just to get out of here. Truth be told, I don't know if I'm going to last another 4 days without medical attention and air without spores in it. I signed. Of course I do. It's not like I have a choice. If it was a case of being shot, maybe I'd be brave enough to face the music instead, but the thought of dying dying a slow, infected death in a sudden cell terrifies me. There's no happy ending here. I'm still in this cell. Day 13, in fact. First day since the 5th I've seen a familiar place. My cell. It sits perched in the corner of the room, looking down at me from the ceiling. I can't see it when I look, but on an old green-tinted monitor, it lurks. Can't make out much of it besides what I think is a rusted old army helmet. Its long brass teeth reflect the scant light in the cell.
No, I got bored in Minecraft now, so I don't know.
Water's flooding my prison as I finish typing this. Punishment for reaching out to all of you. It's my cry for help, my scream to the void to try and figure out some way out of my situation. But this is also my warning. Something is happening to the world, something big and chaotic and worse than anything that we've seen before. Rules are breaking, logic is failing, things aren't what they seem, and someone somewhere out there is keeping an eye on all of these threads and the YouTube comments, looking for those people that know what they're looking for, those of us who live and breathe urban legends, ghost stories. Watch your back, guys. I don't know what else to say. I'm honestly not sure where to even begin. It's been, well, almost a year to the day now, and I still can't fully understand or comprehend what happened. Neither have I been able to fully get over it. I floated from one psychologist, psychiatrist to another. Others tell me that what I experienced couldn't possibly have occurred to me. As much as they try to make my mind believe that, both with words and medication. As much as I try and make my mind believe it wasn't real, I know deep inside myself it was. So I'm choosing to post my account of this here, both as a admittedly rather pathetic attempt to release some of the guilt and horror that I've carried with me since that day. More importantly, as a warning to anyone who listens. You see, I used to love scuba diving. I became certified when I was 16 years old. I've dove both in freshwater and saltwater ever since. I've met and become friends with many great and talented people because of it, and Tyler was one of them. Daredevil at heart and always up for an adventure. I took him under my wing, as he was less experienced than I was, and a few years younger than me. We eventually became close enough that we called each other brothers. And though we lived in different states, we always met up at least once a year to go on a scuba diving trip. That was until the pandemic a few years ago. And when it hit, due to the quarantines and difficulty in travel that it made, we wrote off our annual meetup for 2020 and 2021. We kept in touch, but it just didn't feel the same. But one afternoon in April 2022, I received a phone call. All the usual cheeriness and bravado seemed to have been sucked out of his voice. He told me that his work had chosen to lay him off as a way to cut back spending costs due to the strain his business had been put under, and he'd been forced to go on food stamps and cash assistance as a result of it. To make matters worse, Veronica, his longtime girlfriend of almost 7 years, had decided at the same time to break off her relationship with him. I tell you, that woman truly did complete him. Losing her, stress from losing his job, and the inability to find new ones quickly, quite literally, became helpless, unable to do anything to cheer him up. Staying in my kitchen, holding my phone, idea floating out of my head, voice inflectionless and hollow, that of a robot. Well, I've been thinking. I mean, I have a few days off coming up in the next few days from my remote work. So what about just...
I don't know what to do, bro. I'm out of town for a while. I don't know.
Drive and get you and we take a scuba diving trip. I heard a slight stir on the other end of the line, but the voice was only the same. So, here we go. Places are off limits to people, you know. I mean, have you taken a look at the news? A slight smile crept across my face as I prepared to spring my little idea on him. The place I'm thinking of is one where there won't be as many people right now, just because of the season, you know? My smile grew wider. Which of the places you wanted us to die together? We've never been able to. But more. There's many places. It's Superior, Great Barrier Reef. Cut it off. No, I'm talking about someplace much closer to both of us. I dropped my voice low. I'm talking about Crater Lake. There was the longest pause of the call yet. Then he spoke, his voice now filled with something I'd been hoping for. Curiosity. And a bit of excitement. Crater Lake, huh? Yeah. That's one place you and I have had on our bucket list for years. I think a doubt crept into his voice. I mean, how? You know as well as I do that scuba diving isn't allowed there. If we get caught, I cut him off again. Don't worry about that, bro. I've been doing some scouting of the area, and there aren't many park rangers in the area as there would be in the summer or fall. Go at a certain time, we'll have a few-hour window to check out what we can, and grab some quality pics and video. Another second of silence, then... why the hell not? I got nothing to lose, and this might help get my mind off the world of shit surrounding me, so... yeah, let's do it, man. A grin spread across my face as I heard... I'm a real estate agent, fairly new to the job. We're currently repping a house on behalf of the bank.
I might forget, but it's fine to forget. I'm not... It's fine, I accept it to forget.
I'm something of an amateur historian. Occasionally I go looking through the belongings. With the property of the bank, anyway, usually come part and parcel with the house. You know, for any new buyers. Yesterday, I was surveying the property and I came across an old notebook, just resting on the desk in the study, like that, as if it wanted me to find it. It didn't look that old. When I opened it, the words inside were written in crayon, clearly in an adult's handwriting. The contents were fairly disturbing, and my boss prohibited me from taking it to the police. He says it's fiction. Wasting my time. Maybe he's right. As per the instructions in the text,
Okay.
I'm sharing them here just in case. I hope it helps. My name's Chris. I'm 26
Man,
years
I'm
old,
gonna leave.
former IT technician. I'm survived by my mom, my dad, my sister, and buddy.
I gotta restart my fuck. No, you have to restart your world. That's how Minecraft works. I don't know. That's how Minecraft works. I don't know. I'm doing a live stream, so it might twice the freaking rendering. Last time I was fucking do an hour, and actually now.
For reasons I won't go into, it made me jobless and homeless. I could have reached out to my family. I should have. But I've always been a stubborn guy and wanted to handle this myself. My family aren't exactly rich.
Oh, what the fuck?
I don't want to be a burden. I'll get back on my feet. It'll be hard. It'll be harder than I anticipated. Nights of sleeping rough or cowering in a shelter. My bag clutched to my chest out of fear of being shot by one of the city's born. Hopeless, destitute. An ache in my body.
Alright.
To my very bones. For which seemingly no warmth could serve as a panacea. An ache I dulled with alcohol, eventually prescription drugs. From the cold, winding 6th Street shelter, though I seem to have a healthy smile. By the time I was in desperate need of help, I was too far gone to acknowledge it. signs of the yard. White bed, blue trim, lace curtains. Most importantly, the window into the basement. I lurked in the area watching the house. Nobody was coming and going. It was clear to me that nobody lived here. Still, despite my alcohol and drug addict brain, I was cautious. All I wanted was a place to sleep for a few nights. I wasn't going to vandalize the property or steal anything. A warm bed, hopefully running water, a place to recuperate, collect myself away from the comings and goings of others who so both safety, comfort, injection of hope. As I slipped through the big shield, hope was on my back. This could be the turning point for me. Move on with the owners none the wiser. Reach out to your family. I felt as I dropped onto that bare concrete floor, my eyes adjusted to the cellar door. Cold wind. The house. The house doesn't represent hope. It's a place where hope comes to die. Upstairs, every surface was coated in a thin layer of dust. Nothing severe, but enough to tell me that my suspicions were correct. The house was empty. It was decorated like your standard townhouse, old-fashioned furniture, perhaps from the 60s. Beige carpets, knickknacks in the living room. Locked door downstairs led to a study. Grandfather clock stood in the hall. My feet squeaked over the tile floors to head toward the stairs. And I winced at sound of the door as I was alone. The house felt empty. An old, musty smell wafted through the rooms. The ghost of an older inhabitant, perhaps, which hadn't been aired since they departed. Or they left of their own condition had died. Something tells me the latter. But even the prospect that they might have expired in the house didn't sway me. My legs ached, my head hurt. I needed my pills, and I needed a rest. Upstairs promised a bed. Soft mattress. Respite. The master bedroom had all the trappings of a his and hers cohabitation. A king-size double bed took up most of the room, opposite which I spied a built-in wardrobe, into which I peered. Old ladies' dresses, man's suits, hanging mothballs from hangers, smelling faintly of mildew. I noticed a hatch at the back of the wardrobe, which I figured must have been for the storage space. A vanity table sat by one window, a chest of drawers on the opposite wall. The small bedside clock worked, thankfully, and I could see it was nearly midnight. I could explore the rest of the house tomorrow. Right then, I needed rest. Suddenly and absolutely. I collapsed onto the bed. So soft. Softer than I felt in months. Just before I drifted off into a dreamless sleep, it struck me that I hadn't seen a single photograph in the house, not framed on a mantle or hanging on the walls. It wasn't too strange, I thought. The previous occupants must have taken them. My brain, sleep deprived, didn't consider the fact they had taken nothing else. I awoke to sunlight streaming through the windows. I felt rested, recovering, yet strangely alert, on edge, wary. Had something woken me. It took just a second to realize what. From outside of the room, I heard footsteps, slow and deliberate, and then a cheerful humming. The voice sounded feminine, old. Shit. Had the old lady really come back suddenly? Of all the awful luck, I panicked, scrambling out of bed, eyes darting around the room. I couldn't leave. Lord knows where she was in the house. Sure, I'd likely could overpower an old woman, but there was no way I was doing that unless I absolutely had to. I'm not a monster. I remember the crawl space and the built-in wardrobe. It seemed as good an option as any. I darted to it, pulled it open. The cavernous black space loomed beyond. Without thinking, I pulled shut the wardrobe door behind me and slipped into the darkness. The area I found myself in was cold. I was pressed up against the brickwork, pinned against the claustrophobic corridor between the walls. I stood there for a moment, catching my breath, trying to calm my nerves, then settled down, dabbling of light a few feet away. The vent, looking into the bedroom. At over 6 feet tall, I was barely able to peer through it. The door to the bedroom opened and an old woman entered. As I say old, she was ancient, a withered, round-shouldered crone, shuffled in, peering around with beady eyes. Her face wrinkled like a pulling twitch, as if she was sniffing the air. And all the while, a beautiful, melodic hum emanated from her lips. The woman moved around the room, cutting at the unmade bed. I hope she'd forgotten the state in which she'd left it. Then my heart sank. I see fear gripped my spine. Beside the bed, I saw it, my bag, my worldly possessions, my pills were in there, my booze, my driver's license. Shit! I said a silent prayer that the old woman wouldn't notice. I couldn't afford to be caught. I couldn't. During my homeless days, I'd been arrested twice. Once for aggravated assault against a businessman in a bar who provoked me and looked presentable enough for the law to come down on his side, despite witness testimony. Once for public drunkenness. Managed to avoid jail time, but I knew if I got caught breaking and entering, that'd be it. They'd lock me up. I wouldn't go to jail. I couldn't. I almost wept with relief as the old woman turned away from the side of the bed on which my bag rested. She shuffled out of view towards the vent I stood behind. Her humming drifted up into the walls, haunting and soothing. As the notes began to transform, shifting into a cool, cackling laugh. I held firm, heart pounding my chest. There was no way that little old lady could have seen me in the vent. No way. With a shriek, her withered old face appeared in front of me, staring directly through the vent, over 6 feet high. Her eyes, yellowing, were wide and malevolent, her mouth split open in a rictus grin, revealing a smattering of rotten teeth. She shrieked and howled, eyes locked onto mine gleefully. I stumbled backwards in as little space as I had, cracking my skull against the brickwork behind me. Somewhere to my right, I heard a loud, metallic slam. The air tasted suddenly too thin, too clogged with brick dust. I had to get out of there. I no longer cared about overpowering the old crone. I'd risk it. I stumbled back to the crawl space door. I pushed on it. Unyielding metal met my touch. I shoved harder, my shoulders meeting brick. Unable to get a good purchase. Nothing. Let me out, I called. Please! The old woman replied. Her voice muffled by the walls. Welcome home, my baby.
Okay guys, that'll be today, and see you next one. Peace out. And yeah, I'll do more. And yeah, I'll do more of these, and yeah, I'm gonna peace out. It'll be a good little match. I don't know. I'll do more because I'm tired of shit. I played a God of War all the time. It's been 7 hours. Jesus Christ, man. Damn. Yeah, bye guys. Goodbye. And I do miss playing role-playing games, so yeah, bye.
Floors, vertical shafts lined with metal rungs. 3 accessible floors I discovered.